All right, we are back with the Experience Podcast, and I am here with a very special guest. That's right, it is yours truly, Amir Lambden, and I got an awesome guy that you guys, I think, are going to get a lot of information from as far as mindset and what needs to be done for success to happen. And that gentleman is Vince Delmonte. So, Vince, thank you so much for coming on today.
Yo, Amir, thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. So tell people a little bit about yourself and why you're on the Experience.
Oh, dude, man, you reached out to me and I said, absolutely, let's do it, man. If we want to help men experience their fullest potential, we need to identify, the 5 main seasons of life men go through. And, I've created a little framework called the 5 M's of maximizing manhood. And, each guy might experience these at different times in their life, and there might be a bit of, simultaneous journey on some. But those 5 M's are muscle, mindset, money, mission, and marriage. And, for me, I've built my whole platform and my whole ability to influence men with regards to first helping them with their fitness and helping them with their muscle building goals. And now literally almost 12 years later, I've built a new business where I now help men not maximize their muscle, but to monetize their muscle. And I coach men who want to start a successful and profitable online fitness business and, maybe leave their job and create a program or a service based around their passion, based on their expertise, and then they want to offer that on social media and build their own audience and position themselves as an expert and an authority figure and a celebrity so that they can have that impact that they want and that influence that they want. And, that's really what I'm doing right now. And I still have my fitness brand. I still help men build muscle the natural way. But what I'm really passionate about right now, Amir, is I'm coaching 100 men to the next level of online business success. And, I currently work with 60 different guys. And, they're all like making leaps and bounds. We got guys at all different income levels. Guys are just getting started, 6-figure earners, 7-figure earners, and a couple multi-7-figure earners. It's pretty exciting. And I think one of the reasons people gravitate towards me, Amir, is because, I have what some people describe as a fantasy life, but I think that it's attainable by all men. And I think that the whole idea of achieving something that's attainable is really appealing, because while I'm successful, I'm not like crazy ultra successful. I'm not like running a $100 million business kind of thing, and people see that I put family first and I put God first, and that I'm building my body and I'm building my business without kicking my faith and without kicking my family to the curb in the process. And I think that's what a lot of men tell me when they sign up for my coaching program or show up to my events. They tell me, like, that's what I admire. You've been able to do this without, working 18-hour days, and you still seem down to earth and humble and grounded. And while it does definitely appear like that, it's been a fight to like get it to that part, because the world fights against us every day with, hustle and grind, go now, get it all now, get it today. Yeah. And unfortunately, I had great people in my life to keep me on that path to now what I'm doing for others.
Yeah, and I think that's what really helps you, I think, stand out in this pool of fitpreneurs or coaches that, you really do have, and it you show it, a really healthy blend of your family and your faith with your fitness and your business.
Yeah, and I was, told early on by a coach that if you don't stand out differently, you don't stand out at all.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody listening to the call needs to figure out. What am I bringing to the table? And for a long time, I didn't share my faith. I didn't really showcase the family. It was just, it was there, but I wasn't leading with what I would be considered my strongest traits, the things that would be most appealing for people. And I was kind of, leading with just the muscle. And the truth is, the muscle is a small piece of my life. Now, it was a big piece of my life for 10 years, but my business kind of started, experiencing some resistance when I kept going down a path that wasn't based on, me evolving. Like I became a husband, I became a dad, and I wasn't embracing the new Vince through my brand. And until I did, things didn't really start picking up again.
I think that's exactly, once you start to figure out that blend, I think that's when things will fall into place. And like you said, 12 years you've been in this, so you've had the expertise in learning, whether it be the hard way or in general just surrounding yourself with coaches, is figuring out how to find that balance. So if you could tell somebody starting out, trying to put their, whether online business or their business, what are 3 things maybe you would say, hey, focus on this, but don't forget about, maybe a certain way to, keep their faith in there, either scheduling it or family time. What are 3 things maybe you could tell somebody that was?
Well, first we got to collect the money, right? If we're in business, we have to collect the money. So to collect the money, to collect the profits, to keep the lights on in the house, to keep the bread on the table, to keep mama happy, we need to be collecting cash, right? We need to be working hard, but we also need to be working smarter. So what we need to do is we need to become a specialist. All right, we can't be a jack of all trades. If you become a jack of all trades, if you become a generalist, you get a generalist income. All right, specialists can charge more money, so we need to double down on one person, one problem, and one solution. So what does that mean? Well, for me, I spent many years just focusing on skinny guys who wanted to gain their first 30 pounds of muscle without drugs, without supplements, and in less time. That was my avatar. That was my marketing message. And for people to capture an audience, they need to put in the time that it takes to become the true expert to that niche group. All right? I'm now known as the skinny guy savior. I've got hundreds of YouTube videos out there, but I wasn't talking about fat loss. I wasn't talking about family. I wasn't talking about business. I talked about one thing and one thing only: the most direct and effective way to build muscle the natural way, the no-nonsense way. That was my brand. So the first thing people listening need to do is that they've got to take out all the different irons they've got in the fire, and they've got to leave one in and wait until it's sizzling hot and producing cash. And that's what I did for a long time. I see too many guys doing way too many things, and then that's where the coach comes in. He tells you to stop doing this, this, and this, and to focus on that until it produces X amount of dollars a day or a month in your bank account. All right, before we start shifting our focus. So that's step 1. We got to become a specialist. All right. Step 2 is we need to build an audience. And to build an audience, we need to choose one platform. I see too many guys are on Facebook, they're doing a podcast, they're doing YouTube, they're doing Instagram, they're all over the place, and nothing's growing. I built a 7-figure online business just with YouTube. I wasn't screwing around with Facebook. Instagram didn't really even exist. I mean, I just started my Instagram account, I think, about 2 years ago. I just started my podcast this past summer. And the lesson here, guys, is to focus on one platform. You look at Six Pack Shortcuts, the $25 million a year business. All they do is YouTube. They don't do anything else but YouTube. You look at Jeff Cavalier. I think for last I heard, that guy does, it's an 8-figure business. All he does is YouTube. And you can find different examples of specialists doubling down on one platform. So you have to pick, where are you going to get your traffic? Where are you going to find your audience? And none of them are right or wrong. You just have to pick one and double down on it. I've got the Mind Pump podcast guys coming to speak at my event next week, and all they do is podcasting. That's it. They just do they just got their YouTube channel, they got some Instagram. If you look at their numbers, their podcast numbers dwarf their other channels because that's where they focus their time and efforts. So you need to pick one channel. But Vince, what about? It doesn't matter. You just need one channel. There's enough people on each of these platforms. And then once you got that, then we need to create what I like to call a mafia offer. A mafia offer is an offer people can't refuse. Right? And the mafia offer is like something of extreme benefit, something with a huge promise, but that can be done in a short time frame. Because nobody wants to sign up for a 12-month program. You know, maybe like if it's an expensive business course, that's different and it's further along in your business model. But most people, if they've never heard of you, aren't going to give you $100, $1,000 out of the gate, right? But they might give you $10, they might give you $30, they might give you $50 to give you a shot. So what we do is we come out with like a 30-day challenge or a 14-day challenge or a 21-day Kickstarter. You know, something that promises a lot of results in a short window of time. Like my 30-day metabolic reboot program. It's a 30-day extreme fat loss protocol. It's hardcore. It gets people in the front door, and it gets me customers. And they can see if Vinny D is the real deal. I also have my book. I wrote a book. I spent 2 years writing a book, and guess what I do with it? I give it away for free. All you do is pay shipping. It's called a free plus shipping offer. It's getlivinglarge.com. You can see it. You can get my best work for free. But what's the value of that? I get customers. You know, we just ordered another 1,000 books. You know, just the last month we've sold out 2,000 books. 2,000 people in the last month have my book in their home. And with people's attention span spread so thin, people now have me inside their home. I am in people's homes. So I've bypassed the line to keep their attention. So why did I do that? Because these mafia offers aren't designed to make you money. They're actually designed to just get you customers. Like I only make a couple bucks on my book after I ship it, right? And it's like a break-even project. But because I have other products, after people test out my work, then I introduce them to my newsletter. And I have a monthly newsletter, Amir, which is called Maximize Your Muscle. And it gets sent out every 30 days. It's a physical newsletter shipped to your front door. And it includes a brand new workout of the month. Plus it includes M5 mentoring so people can get mentored on the 5 M's of manhood. And that's $47 a month. And that's a program that has over 500 men a part of it. And it's growing every month. And that's what you call recurring revenue. So every month, on the first of the month, I wake up to that money, whether I want to go to Mexico and take a week off or whether I want to work. You know, that money's coming in.
Absolutely.
So, and those are you asked me for 3 steps, but there's 4 steps. So you got to become a specialist. Then you need to choose a platform to build your audience. And then you need to create a mafia offer. And then you need to funnel all these people into your first offer into a recurring revenue product. And that's where you put money in your bank account. That's where you buy your next car. That's where you buy your home. That's how you pay for your kids' education. That's how you make the money to get the freedom you want, to have the life you want. And those are the 4 steps. And then you asked me, like, how do you do all that without forgetting, you know, how to keep the main thing, exactly. Essentially. Well, you need structure. You need structure. And I learned this from my coach, Craig Ballantyne, and he taught me this. Vince, structure equals freedom. And that's kind of like a paradox, right? Well, how does structure equal freedom? Well, you need to structure your day. I'm actually going to speak to a high school in a few hours today, and I'm going to be teaching them this as well. And it's called structure equals freedom. And what this means is that you need to script your day, and you need to know what's most important in terms of moving your business forward. And the question that I always ask to my business coaching clients when I'm working with them is, what is the one thing constraining your revenue today? What is the one thing you need to get done today that is preventing you from putting more money in your bank account? And then we build your day around that one question. And then we script our day hour by hour based on doing the most important things first. We do everything in time blocks, and we set aside those 2 to 3 hours of magic time, that uninterrupted time of focus, where you go get that money. And that's how you do it. And then you set up your day in a way that puts you to work against deadlines. Just like if you're competing for a bodybuilding show, you don't get all the time in the world to get ready for the show. You've got a deadline. You've got to be on that stage at 12 p.m. for prejudging on a specific day at a specific time, so you work against the clock. It's the same way you put money in your bank account. So, you know, my day starts at 5 o'clock. I'm doing my social media for the first hour of the day, making money, and then I'm training from 6 to 7:30, and then I'm home with the family from 8 to 8:45, and then I work from 9 to 4:30 Monday to Friday, and I don't work after 4:30, and I take the weekends off. That's called structure. That's structure, and that's how I get it done. And then I have my days, laid out Monday and Fridays. Mondays, I enable my team. I delegate pretty much the whole week to people that work for me. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I'm on coaching calls. Fridays, I'm producing content with my video team, or like what we're doing today. Today's a Friday, and I'm producing content either for my podcast or for my YouTube channel or for others. And Friday's content creation day. And that's called structure, and that's how you get freedom, because now you're focused on what matters and you're saying no to what doesn't matter. And then there's obviously other pieces in there as well, but that's the framework.
That's incredible. And I think that not only did you just give a shit ton of knowledge to people, but the underlying message is like, hey, be willing to not just schedule it, but do it. Do the work. Like, do the work over and over every day. And then when you start to have structure and you're doing the work, then you're actually getting somewhere, instead of just, what a lot of people do is they're all over the place. They're trying to market on Facebook, then they're trying to market on Instagram, then they're trying to do a seminar. And I sometimes get caught up in that. And as I learn more in business, I started to understand, I need to be in one place and doing more specific to what my goal is. But, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's all good. That's good stuff. Next week, we all need accountability. You're talking about you're talking about the missing link, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a product of coaching. Ever since day one, when I was in high school, I had a high school track coach. In university, I had a university cross country coach. When I got into the muscle building world, I had my first bodybuilding coach. When I competed, I had coaches. I've never done anything without having somebody look over my shoulder, because they hold you accountable, right? And they ensure that what you say you're going to do, they don't guarantee that it's going to get done, but what happens is you now have somebody working beside you. So here's the deal. What people don't understand is that, everybody thinks that when they get into a show, they're going to, they start a diet. They think the first diet's going to get them all the way on the stage at 4% body fat. No, the diet might work for the first 3 weeks, and then you're going to have to tweak it, and then tweak it, and then tweak it. Same thing with business. You're going to, I had one guy in my coaching program for a whole year. He couldn't sell his muscle building product. It was just like, I'm like, dude, man, what the heck's going on here? He was trying all this stuff. He couldn't get the cash. And then finally, we missed the whole mark. We missed the mark. This guy's got insane arms. He's got this beautiful girlfriend, and he wasn't marketing either of those things. So I said, change the offer to a 21-day arm challenge. He relaunched it, and the dude made more sales in 1 month than he made in 1 year, and now he's putting the money in his bank account. And that's the value of a coach. That's the value of accountability, because if he was all on his own, he could have just given up and said, forget this isn't working. But because he kept showing up to the meetings, he kept getting on his coaching calls, we finally dissected what wasn't working. And that's what a coach does. He helps you fight the day-to-day battles. The day-to-day battles on the ground, right? Everybody wants to win up in the sky. But, you got to get down. You got to put your feet on the ground, and you got to start marching forward. And as you start marching forward, you start running into different rocks. And we got to roll them out of the path. And sometimes you try to move the rock one way and it doesn't roll. Then you try this way and it doesn't roll. Then all of a sudden you get a good grip on it at this angle and you're like, oh, there we go. The rock's moving. Okay, let's keep marching. And that's how you achieve the mission, right? You fight the day-to-day battles with somebody working beside you, arming you, and telling you not just what to do, but how to do it. And if you're an action taker, it's just a matter of time before you get to where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that mindset is actually pretty unique. Even though, we do tell people and we hear about how important it is, I think embracing the coach or the criticism or whatever it may be that needs you to make that shift to allow you to get to that next place. I think that's where most people resist. And I wanted to know, maybe, what do you think separates you as far as in that mindset where maybe you're obviously not very resistant to coaching, and you're very open to it. What do you think allows that shift to happen in your life, and maybe who created that for you?
I'll be honest, I don't know. I really have no idea. I always grew up with my parents who taught me a lot. I've always just kind of had a teachable attitude. I don't know if it was because I was a mid-packer when I was a runner. Like, I was a good runner, but I wasn't a great runner, you know? Same thing in school. Like, I hardly made the honor roll every year. And in university, you know, I was the guy that thought I aced it, and I'd call my mom and I'd tell her I think I got a 90 on that one, and then I get my marks and it'd be like a 63. So, you know, I was always open to feedback because I always struggle, like, you know, as in everything in life, to be honest. Like, I was always like kind of average. And what I realized was, you know, one of the things that helped me succeed was just, you know, I know it's the old cliche, but it was never ever quitting. And I realized that, like, one of my unfair advantages was that I was starting to beat guys that just gave up. So I wasn't getting better; they were just dropping out.
No, that's great. You know,
I just kept moving up because there was fewer people to compete against, and so it was almost like the mentality of, like, one of the big themes around becoming an M5 man is going the distance. You know, not peaking in your 20s, never peaking. Period. Never peaking. Like, I'm 38 and I'm just getting going, right? I went to high school with all these guys that peaked in high school. You know, I was at a movie premiere last night with my brother, and I was running into guys from high school, and they were, you know, saying, like, wow, like, you've really, like, propelled yourself. And they were, you know, name dropping, and, like, we're like, yeah, what happened to so-and-so? I'm like, oh, no idea, man. I don't know. He fell off the face of this earth. It was like, he was like the most popular guy in high school. Like, and same thing, university. These guys peak in their 20s. Their glory days are in their 20s, you know. They're living this life of, like, swiping right. You know, they're not thinking big. They're not trying to leave a legacy. They're not trying to become a legend. They're lost. You know, they're just kind of lumped in there with a legion of lame, lost sheep. Yeah. And you really need to ask yourself, what do I want to be remembered for? And I think when you start asking that and you start recognizing there's people further ahead of you who are where you want to be, the first thing you got to do is change your environment. And you need to get around them and find out what the gap is.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible that you know, created this mindset for yourself as a young man and continue to, I guess it is not surviving, but thriving, and, you know, persistence and continuing to challenge yourself. And that's what I think has allowed you to get to where you are now. And I think people, that's where people fall out, is that they get to this point where I think they get complacent with the amount of challenges that they've had to overcome, and they're not willing to take on anymore. And I think that's when things start to fall apart for you.
Yeah, the fastest thing the best decision you can make to double your income, take your physique to the next level, is to surround yourself with others that are ahead of you. Right? You know, I always talk about this story when I thought that I could never, ever get my diet in control because, you know, I grew up in an Italian home. I love my Italian food. I love my pasta. You know, I love having a bottle of wine. I love the antipasto. I love the cheese, you know, have the dessert. You know, I just love living large. When I go to the restaurant, I'm the same way. I get the cocktail, sometimes two. Then I'll get a bottle of wine for the table. And then I'll get the appetizers. You know, I got to get a couple so we can try everything on the menu. And then I'll get the main course. I get the dessert. Then we'll get, like, a digestivo, something to finish it off. You know, I'll put down 4,000 or 5,000 calories in one night. And I always thought, like, man, I can't break this habit. I can't break this habit. And I would be so good through the week with my nutrition. And then on weekends, I would just, you know, set myself back. And then I started hanging out with a professional bodybuilder who's become a great friend, IFBB pro Ben Pekulski, many years ago.
Wow,
and,
very cool.
You know, I started going out for dinner with him, and I watched him order. And all of a sudden, he was so meticulous about, like, you know, are you guys going to be steaming the broccoli? Or are you going to be putting it in butters? Okay, I need you to hold the butter. And then, you know, he would walk through every piece of food that was going to be put on his plate, and just being in his presence. Let me ask you, Amir, do you think I made the same choices sitting in his presence after he ordered like the most perfect meal?
No way.
No, I was like, I'll have what he's having.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think that's what I said the first time, like, I'm going to eat exactly what he's eating. And it was simply because I was in the presence of somebody who was like doing what I knew I needed to do, and it was just my environment.
Absolutely.
If you join a business coaching program, you come out to one of my masterminds and you're in a room with 60 entrepreneurs who are killing, and you're giving your marching orders, and I tell you this is what you need to do before you show up to the next meeting in Toronto 90 days from now. Do you think you're going to take massive action before you show up in front of the same group of peers?
Oh, absolutely. Otherwise,
absolutely.
You're embarrassing yourself.
We're going to put you on steroids essentially.
Yeah.
And you're going to come back transformed. And then we're going to give you some more steroids, and you're going to get even bigger and faster, and you become unstoppable. And it's because you're around other people that are pushing you and blowing your limiting beliefs out the window.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's all about who you surround yourself with. And, we had spoken before about, in November in your New York event. So I'm hoping that I'll be there. For sure.
Oh, dude. Yeah, man. We'd love to have you. And by then, the group's going to be bigger. And, yeah, it's going to be amazing, man.
But that's what, and it's all that mindset of continuously learning and, like you said, putting yourself around with people that are going to force you to become better and make a change in your life as far as whether it be, spiritually, in your business, in your fitness, So,
and this is a lifestyle, man. This isn't like something you do for 12 months. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm gonna just work with like one coach. No. You're gonna work with a coach until the day you die.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And it's a lifestyle. And what happens, I'll tell you a story. I was a product of masterminds when I first started my business. My first coach was $7,500. And it was a 6-month coaching program. And in the very first year, I only made 10 grand online. But, that for me, I was like, hey, cool, I made my money back and maybe I can keep this going. So my second year online, I joined another coaching program. It cost me 10 grand to be a part of. Mm-hmm. But at the end of that year, my income went from 10 grand to 100 grand. And that was the year I quit my job. I was like, holy cow, I made more online than I made at my job. And I quit my job. I was 26 years old. All right. And then working with that same guy, he helped me go from 100K to 350K. All right. So that was my third year online. All right. And then I kept going and I went from 350 to 750. And now I'm close to the age of 30 and I had a goal to make my first $1 million before the age of 30. And then I joined another coaching program and that one cost me 18 grand. And that was the year that I went from $750 a year to over $1 million a year, and it was because I was a part of this group. All right, so my income went up a bit more after that, but what happened was this. The biggest mistake I've ever made is I started thinking, it was, again, people would say, oh yeah, but you're over $1 million, and that's exactly what happened to me. You're good now, Vinny, you're good now, Vinny. Biggest mistake in my life. And I started thinking like the middle class. It's called mediocre thinking. I started thinking this: if I could only do this again next year, if I could only maintain this. And I never had that thought process up until that point. It was always, I got to get to the next level, to the next level, to the next level. And I coasted for 4 years. I was over 7 figures, but I was coasting like I was still just around. I wasn't like making those exponential leaps that I had made the years before. So last year, I was approached by Bedros Keuilian and Craig Ballantyne, 2 individuals who have a coaching program called Empire, and the price tag to join is $50K, paid in full to join. And it's with Super Bowl champ, a bodybuilding champ. There's a couple other like multi-7-figure, 8-figure earners in the group. It's really high level, and they invited me to join. And it was exactly what I needed. And I'll tell you straight up, I was scared. I was scared to put that money. I had the money. That's the thing. I had the money. Yeah. Like, it wasn't like I had to go into debt. The money was in my bank account. But I was scared to take that leap. And what Bedros said is, he said, Vinny, you've been riding the brake for 4 years. And you need to take your foot off the brake and you need to hit the gas pedal like you did in those first 4 years. And I took the brake off for the first time in 4 years, and I joined Empire, and now I'm on pace for doubling my income again.
That's awesome. Good for you, man. And that's the only, I think the only way you can do it is by taking that leap. And I think it's hard to believe in yourself when you're not capable of seeing it. But when you have people that are so strong in their belief in you, that's when I think when you find that right coach who does see that, I think that's when you take that leap. And
Amir, you just kind of hit the nail on the head there. You know, I always talk, I don't know if you saw a video of me talking about that a while back, but Craig and Bedros have always been those outside eyes that have seen more in me than I've seen in myself.
Yeah.
And everybody needs a Craig and Bedros in their life. You know, everybody needs that person that sees more in Amir than Amir sees in himself. Because I'm going to keep pushing you. I'm going to keep pushing you. I'm going to keep you out of your comfort zone so that you keep persisting, so that you keep getting that progress, so that you avoid that perfection syndrome. And we're going to get you to your fullest potential. But you need those outside eyes who can tell you, hey, man, you're taking a detour right now. Let's get you back on track. You need to stop that project, man. That's not what you need to be doing right now. I need you to get refocused on this. And here's how you're going to do it. And they're like, okay, thank you. I needed, no one climbs the mountain by themselves. Show me one person who's climbed a mountain by themselves.
Yeah, and also what drives me a little bit bonkers is sometimes how, people will hire a coach, and then they're like, okay, I got this. I figured it out. I know what to do now. And then they go and, try to do it on their own. And obviously, we all know how that story ends.
Yeah, you got it, man. Yeah, the two most dangerous words in the English language.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
You always want to be the dumbest person in the room. and you never want to know anything,
Yeah, for sure.
And that's we could go on a tangent there too, because the minute you know stuff, your brain stops functioning, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't have to think anymore.
Yeah. How do you think your mindset impacts maybe some of your I know your clients, but maybe your family and people like that?
Well, I mean, it's sometimes they love it, sometimes they hate it. It does come with the good and bad, right? An obsessive mindset, it's not normal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing though, man. Everybody's obsessed about something. The question is what are you obsessed about? Some people are obsessed about overeating. Some people are obsessed about mediocrity. Some people are obsessed about watching Netflix. So if you're going to have an obsession, it might as well be something that's growth oriented.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Positive, and have an addiction to fitness and stuff like that is way more productive than alcohol and other things, or Netflix.
Yeah, or just comfort. A lot of people they're complacent. Like, that's an obsession too. The obsession to be comfortable. So it really is a mentality. As a man of the family, as the leader of my family, it's really important to understand that I want to build this without kicking them to the curb at the same time. And the big thing for me is, like, we all have our own personal struggles, so we need somebody, a trusted voice in our life, to speak into our life on those matters as well. But I think it's definitely the male's responsibility to have the woman trust the man, right? And the example I always use is around money, because my business coaching program isn't cheap, but then again, it's not expensive either. And you always get that objection where I need to go talk to my wife.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Oh, well, we always talk about money. So I'm like, so she already knows you're on the phone right now with me, right?
Exactly.
So what did she say? You already talked about that. And the whole thing is, well, I have to get her, make sure she's okay, she's on board. Well, let me ask you a question. Do you have to get your wife on board when you go buy her a birthday present?
Yeah.
You need your wife's permission when you go buy her a Christmas present, right? So what's happened in the relationship is that some degree of trust has been lost in how the money is spent. And the root problem is not how money is being spent. It's that the man of the relationship is not making enough money. You don't have a budget problem. You don't have an expensive taste problem. You don't have an overspending problem. You have an under-incoming problem. Because I don't talk to my wife about finances. She doesn't. I can go spend whatever I need to and want to because she trusts me. She trusts me. I don't need to say, hey, Flav, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
She trusts me. It's something that she doesn't want to be a part of. She doesn't want any say. But I will tell you because she knows that I'm better at it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's just a bit of a gentle nudge, a gentle challenge to men to step it up, right? Women don't want to make the decisions, around the house in terms of how the money's spent. They just want to know that the money's there to spend it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And the way women are wired, again, this isn't how I design women. God designed them like this, but all women need a sense of security, right? They need to know that if the air conditioner breaks down, that they can write the check. And they say, hey, hubby, our air conditioner isn't working and it costs us $5,000. And they need to know that the husband can say, okay, all right, cool, go write the check. They need to be able to look in the bank account and see that the next 3 months of rent or mortgage, whatever, is in the bank account and not wonder, shoot, where's next month's coming from? And again, this just requires the man to have a plan and to execute on it and to just say, hey, this is where we're at right now. And even it might be just an honest conversation. Like there's been times with, me and her where I've made some, pretty interesting, risky kind of moves. And I said, hey, we're going to be living tight for a little while. And she's okay with that because I'm letting her know we're going to be living tight for a little while. But this is why we're going to be living tight. I'm making an investment into this, which is going to pay us back so that we can get out of this risky situation. She's like, okay, that's risky. I'm like, exactly. But our situation is going to be even more risky down the road if we don't get out of this situation.
Yeah.
So which one is it? Do you want to stay here or do you want to make it even more riskier? Oh, yeah, it's a good point, honey. All right. And then I say the 3 magic words. Trust me, baby. The 3 magic words every man needs to write down. Yeah. Trust me, baby. But then you got to go execute like a mother. You know what?
Deliver that.
And
Otherwise, those
just
words
tell
don't mean
her,
shit.
I got this, baby.
Right.
All right? And then you go take action and you go get that help from your coach, from the guys you need, whatever you need to do, you go make it happen. And you're never going to have to discuss finances again.
Awesome.
It's a journey there, but you need that mindset. You think Grant Cardone asks Elaine Cardone how he should spend his money?
Huh.
God, no. You know what I'm saying?
And vice versa, probably.
Right. She's like, yeah, honey, can I get another car? Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Credit cards, on the table. It's just, but that's like thinking large, right? That's thinking, and when you start hanging out with guys like that who think like that, think 10x.
Yeah. Exactly.
Then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I didn't even think that it was possible not to have a conversation about money with my wife. Like every guy I know, that's kind of the norm. And like, well, yeah, because they're all living a normal life. But I think you want a non-normal life, no? Yeah. Okay, well, let's go hang out with non-normal people and see how they do it.
Absolutely.
And that's the power. Like I didn't wake up with this mindset. You said, where's this mindset come from? Well, I've gone into environments and they've challenged the way I was raised to think about certain things so that they've rebooted my brain.
Yeah. And I think that goes back to, again, like you said, who you surround yourself with. And, I follow you and I see that, you do work with Craig and Bedros and that you went and, highly invested in yourself in that Grant Cardone event. And then you even are happy to show, that you're going back for the next one, and that I think, again, is that draw that you're creating is that, like, you're showing that no matter where you're at, 7-figure earner, still you gotta push, you can't get comfortable, you're gonna only suffer from it.
And let me ask you, does it make you more valuable or less valuable when people see you investing in yourself?
Oh, absolutely more valuable.
Yeah. And that's a huge lesson, because I had someone ask me the other day, said, doesn't that like discredit your abilities if you're always going to others for help? What would you say to that?
Absolutely not. It means you're open-minded. I mean, I'd like to bring people into my facility for seminars all the time, because it's going to help show value in what I'm doing.
Right. And if you're connected with highly educated people and celebrities and experts, how does that position you?
Yeah, I mean, like a celebrity. That's like, you know.
That's it. Right, man. And that's really like how I got my fitness business going. I was mentored by three of the best guys in the world: John Berardi, Charles Poliquin, and Ian King. And man, I rode that to death. Like when I launched my business, I talked about the fact that I was being mentored, and I can still remember lots of emails coming in when people said, yeah, I gave your program a shot because I know you come from the world, from the school of Charles Poliquin, and he's the man.
Yeah.
So I accelerated my celebrity by hanging out with other celebrities.
Yeah, you are a product of the 5 people you surround yourself with.
Yeah, and guess what? And they're like, oh, wow, if Vinny's learning from those guys and I trust those guys, I guess I can trust him.
Absolutely.
And that's what you do in business too. You go get around other celebrities, other authority figures, other experts, and people start saying, oh, wow, he's hanging out. You come out to my mastermind in New York, you're going to be taking photos with tons of awesome dudes. When you go back home, you post all those pictures on your social media, you start doing videos about them, and with them, they're going to be like, holy cow, you hung out with so-and-so? Oh, what'd you learn? What was that like? Well, you're seeing it. You're on a whole nother level now.
Yeah, and that's why, I'm not trying to boost myself, but in a way I am, because I'm trying to bring people like yourself and other people that have been on the podcast in the past that are going to share their experience and bring my experience up via that. And again, I'm creating a bigger circle for myself. So absolutely, I'm definitely in that mindset of trying to grow your network. Your network is your net worth, right?
Yeah, you got it, man. And that's critical. You just nailed it on the head for sure.
So Vince, I know you got to get going. So what are some current things that you have lined up, and where can people find you?
Instagram would be the best place. I'm most active on my Instagram stories, so I'd go follow me on Instagram. It's just my name, Vince Delmonte, and people can send me a DM if they've got any questions whatsoever. I'm really excited about the Vince Delmonte podcast show too, so they can subscribe to the Vince Delmonte podcast show, and I would say those are the 2 easiest places to start consuming my stuff and to get a hold of me.
Awesome. And what are some things, maybe some projects you were talking about, your book? Where can people pick that up again? And
for sure. Yeah, so for anybody who wants to build muscle the natural way, go to getlivinglarge.com, and I'll ship you a copy of my free book. So you don't have to buy it on Amazon. Getlivinglarge.com. And in terms of what I'm working on, I'll give you a little taste of what's coming really soon. I'm coming out with my first supplement.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really soon, fully loaded. It's a fully loaded pre-workout, 35 scientific references. It's an advanced, all-in-one, next-generation formula, and it's just going to blow people away when they read the ingredients and when they see the dosages of those ingredients. There's nothing like this on the market. Most pre-workouts in mere cost, like the best ones, I'll tell you what the worst, the highest selling ones in the industry cost $4, $5 to make, all right?
Yeah.
And then they mark them up for $30, $40. And then the best ones in the industry cost like $10 to $13 to manufacture. Fully loaded costs $20. So what it costs me, and some of my friends, my business peers actually told me not to do this because they're like, you're not going to make any money from it. But I'm not making this to be like a supplement company. I'm making this for myself and for all my top guys. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm really, really excited about bringing this pre-workout to the marketplace in probably about the next month.
Awesome. That's awesome. Congratulations. And again, thank you so much for coming on today, guys. Give Vince a follow. He's got a ton of content that he puts out on a daily basis, and it is quality stuff. And hopefully you enjoyed some of what he shared today, because I definitely did. So Vince, once again, thank you so much. And guys, More episodes coming soon.